Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Esteemed judge and respected opponents, we stand before you today to affirm the motion that calls for the abolition of primary and middle school years that group children based on age, in favor of grouping them by competency and intelligence. We firmly believe that this change is not only necessary but also beneficial for the education system as a whole. The first, individualized learning. Our first argument revolves around the concept of individualized learning. The traditional age-based grouping system assumes that all children of the same age learn at the same pace and have the same abilities. However, we know this is far from the truth. By transitioning to competency and intelligence-based grouping, we can cater to each student's unique strengths and weaknesses. Under this new system, advanced learners can progress at their own accelerated pace, while those who need extra support can receive it without feeling left behind. This approach fosters a more inclusive and equitable education environment where every child has the opportunity to excel at their own speed. The second, promoting critical thinking. Our second argument highlights the importance of promoting critical thinking. Age-based grouping often leads to a one-size-fits-all approach to education, which stifles creativity and critical thinking. When students are grouped based on competency and intelligence, they are exposed to more diverse perspectives and challenges that stimulate their cognitive abilities. This diversity in the classroom encourages students to think outside the box, ask questions, and engage in deeper discussion. It prepares them for the real world, where problem solving and adaptability are essential skills. By fostering critical thinking, we not only prepare our youth for future success, but also contribute to a more innovative society. Addressing achievement gaps. Our final argument revolves around addressing achievement gaps. Age-based grouping perpetuates achievement gaps by grouping students solely based on their birthday, irrespective of their educational needs. This approach fails to account for students who might be ahead or behind their peers academically. Competency and intelligence-based grouping enables educators to identify and bridge these gaps effectively. It allows for targeted interventions and support for students who need it most. By breaking down the barriers that age-based grouping imposes, we can create a more inclusive education system where every child has the opportunity to reach their full potential. There are class groupings based on academic ability, has the benefit of fulfilling student educational need. Improve student achievement, meet the wishes of parents that its children want to be grouped with students who have the same abilities, and by grouping students, teachers can use learning tools maximally. Grouping is usually done by considering the assumption that students will develop optimally if given an environment with the same academic abilities. This is reinforced by another assumption that students with high potential will compete with each other. This competition is positive for stimulating achievement. Likewise, students with low academic ability will develop according to their potential. Another consideration is the right of every student to get the best service at schools. Grouping is a way to provide the best service for students. In conclusion, we affirm that the transition from age-based to competency and intelligence-based grouping is a necessary step forward for our education system. It promotes individualized learning, fosters critical thinking, and addresses achievement gaps. By making this change, we are investing in a brighter future for our children and a more equitable society. We have debated the idea of abolishing primary and middle school years that group children based on age and replacing them with a system that groups them by competency and intelligence. While this proposal presents some valid arguments, such as catering to individual learning needs, we must also consider the potential drawbacks, including social and emotional development. Ultimately, the key lies in finding a balance between age-based and competency-based grouping to ensure that every child receives the education they deserve. We urge you to support this mission for the betterment of education and the generation to come. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.